Partly sunny skies today, slight chance of a sprinkle or shower. Temperature.
Good morning. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. Hope you had a terrific weekend. We're back at it again, another week. So let me get set here, and we'll get underway here shortly. Excuse me.
The radio station you're listening to now is Callow. Our addresses are
All right, here we go.
FM 105.1 and worldwide at callow.com. The Doctor of Discernment is on the air. I love the Greg Belfrage Show.
I've been listening to you for years, Greg. Thanks for all you do and keeping us informed.
You sound a little taller on radio. Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
So much stuff.
And will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time.
I don't believe in the no-win scenario.
This is the
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. Great to have you along this morning. Monday, February 24th. Big stories this morning. You've got Elon Musk demanding that federal employees then, he announced this, federal employees need to report their accomplishments from the last week or face losing their jobs. And there are a lot of people who are upset over this. You got people just reacting. An Illinois Democratic Representative Sean Casten said on X over the weekend, this is a good opportunity for mass civil disobedience. Musk has no authority to do this. Encourage all federal employees to report to work and to continue to demonstrate the public service and patriotism that he lacks. And he's telling them also to prepare GFY letters. You know what that means? Go blank yourself. So there were some pretty vulgar responses coming from Democrat lawmakers, so much so that I don't even, especially at this hour of the morning, I'm not going to share them with you. I mean, that's their reaction to a lot of what we are seeing. And so there are those who are telling the federal employees, yeah, don't do it, don't respond, let's wait and see what happens. And so that is a really big story this morning. It continues to be. Elon Musk announced this several days ago, and still a big story this morning. One of the top stories at foxnews.com this morning. Also, President Trump will have a busy week meeting with foreign leaders in Washington, and the administration trying to work out a potential peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. So the president will meet with the Prime Minister of the UK and the President of France this week. And this announcement comes after Emmanuel Macron had called for an emergency meeting of world leaders after the Trump administration did not include Europe from sitting at the negotiating table. And National Security Advisor Mike Waltz told Fox News, he said, just a few months ago, everyone was talking about this war as though it would never end, he says. In just a very short amount of time, President Trump has us, everyone, the Ukrainians, the Russians, the Europeans, talking about it now and debating. Only President Trump could drive that shift in conversation. And we have to acknowledge that that's happened. Yeah, no question about it. There are a lot of things. Donald Trump this guy is a bulldozer. President Trump, it's just amazing you watch this. And the president then also talking about Vladimir Zelensky of Ukraine, the president of Ukraine, the president saying Zelensky is a poor negotiator and Trump is sick of it. He said, I've been watching this man for years now as his cities get demolished, as his people get killed, his soldiers get decimated. I've been watching him negotiate with no cards. He has no cards, and you get sick of it. You just get sick of it, and I've had it, the president said. Now, there are those who are in deep disagreement with President Trump regarding this, regarding Ukraine, regarding Zelensky, feeling on the part of those who feel that President Trump is siding with Russia rather than siding with Ukraine and Zelensky. Also, there's a story, one of the big stories this morning, you've got Zelensky out there promising that he will step down. Trying to see. Yeah, here we go. This is from Straight Arrow News. Zelensky saying he would step down as Ukraine's president, and he would do it if the country receives membership in NATO. He would step down, and he said he would resign his post even if it meant an end to the fighting. If to achieve peace, you really need me to give up my post, I'm ready. I can trade it for NATO. And I don't see that as ever happening. So Zelensky said we must do everything possible to bring a lasting and just peace to Ukraine. He said this is achievable through the unity of all partners. We need the strength of all of Europe, the strength of America, the strength of everyone who seeks lasting peace. Whether or not Zelensky is a part of that, we'll see. Also, let's go to Donald Trump's Truth Social account, because this is driving a lot of headlines this morning, but let's get it right from the president's mouth. Said, great news for law enforcement and American justice. Dan Bongino, a man of incredible love and passion for our country, has just been named the next deputy director of the FBI by the man who will be the best ever director, Kash Patel. Dan has a master's degree in psychology, an MBA from Penn State. He was a member of the New York Police Department, highly respected special agent with the United States Secret Service, is now one of the most successful podcasters in the country, something he is willing and prepared to give up in order to serve. Working with our great new United States Attorney General Pam Bondi and Director Patel, fairness, justice, law, and order will be brought back to America and quickly. Congratulations, Dan, says President Trump. And then he followed that up. And this is within the last 9 or 10 hours that we have seen these postings from President Trump. He said another aspect of the life of Dan Bongino that I think is very important is a great wife, Paula, 2 wonderful daughters who truly love their dad. What an incredible job Dan will do, said President Trump. Also, earlier this morning, the president posting on Truth Social of Elon Musk, as we were talking about the story and what's happening, federal employees listing their accomplishments. Here's what the president said. Elon is doing a great job, but I would like to see him get more aggressive. And this is all in capital letters. The whole post is in capital letters. I would like to see him get more aggressive. Remember, we have a country to save, but ultimately to make greater than ever before, MAGA. So he wants to see Elon Musk be even more aggressive than he has been. Wow. Also, the president had posted this was a meme that he had posted on True Social. And it's one of SpongeBob. Can you see it there? For those of you who are following a video on YouTube this morning, SpongeBob scratching his head with a notepad in his hand. And then you see on the notepad, got done last week, cried about Trump, cried about Elon, made it into the office for once, read some emails, cried about Trump and Elon some more. Trump posted that to his social account. So Dan Bongino will be the next deputy director of the FBI. The Bongino responded on X saying, "Thank you, Mr. President, Attorney General Bondi, and Director Patel." So Bongino's talk show, as you know, is one that's listened to by many. Not only is he a very successful podcaster, but his radio show has got good numbers throughout the country. So the president posting New York Post reporting on that SpongeBob meme that I just showed you, poking fun at all of the outrage over Elon Musk and his email asking federal workers what they did last week. So Trump is totally on board. And this is where, you've got Democrats reacting to Elon Musk as if he is just a renegade and he's out there on his own and no oversight by the president. Nothing could be further from the truth. Donald Trump, and this is one of the reasons why I shared that True Social post with you, Donald Trump is pushing Elon to even go further. He thinks Elon Musk is being too timid. So he wants Elon Musk to be even more bold in what he's doing. So pretty incredible. So again, Elon, this from Straight Arrow News. Musk saying, consistent with President Trump's instructions, all federal employees will shortly receive an email requesting to understand what they got done last week. Failure to respond will be taken as a resignation. Big story this morning. Now, we've got a couple of statewide stories that are also, let's touch on some of the things happening statewide, and we'll talk about some of these this morning. There is a piece at South Dakota Searchlight that Republican lawmakers in the state want to crack down on the citizen-backed ballot measures. So I'm going to put the question to you this morning. Would you like to see fewer ballot measures in South Dakota? We'll talk about it. Open up the phone lines coming up this morning at 7. You can drop me an email anytime, greg.belfrage@kelo.com. How do you feel about citizen-backed ballot measures? Brian Gosh, who is a former state lawmaker, said there are things being put on the ballot that they can't get through the legislature. I've long believed this. There are things that get put on the ballot, and that's being used as an end run to the state legislature. I believe this for a long time. And I think Brian Gosh is absolutely right. He says they're trying to bypass that process to go around it and then get their way through some other means. So and then you're getting a reaction from a number of folks on this. Representative Aaron Healy, Democrat from Sioux Falls, said citizens putting issues on the ballot that their lawmakers will not entertain is a good thing. They're trying to let the people decide. They're trying to participate in democracy. Yeah, the problem is, Representative Healy, we don't live in a democracy. We live in a representative republic. And this is where I think a lot of these people we do not live in a democracy, and democracies do not last as long as the United States of America has lasted because we are a representative republic. We are not a democracy. And every time I hear lawmakers talking that way, I cringe. I absolutely cringe. I don't know if they're misinformed or don't know, but we do not live in a democracy, right? You understand that. We live in a representative republic, which is much different. And that's why the United States is lasted nearly 250 years. So we'll talk about that. We'll get your feelings on it this morning. Also, there was a piece at South Dakota Searchlight about the a lot of the stories at South Dakota Searchlight, my opinion, a lot of the news at South Dakota Searchlight leans horribly to the left, really, really left leaning. And so they've got a piece on South Dakota federal workers and programs. Then with all of these, we talk about Elon Musk and the positions that are being cut and so on. And folks then who are, now again, these are folks within South Dakota who have federal jobs, again, within the state, and are, finding emails saying that, you're a probationary employee and therefore done. And South Dakota Searchlight saying in this story, he said neither his boss nor his boss's boss knew his firing was coming. So I want to get your thoughts on this. Are too many South Dakota federal workers being fired? Or too many federal workers in South Dakota being fired? We'll get your thoughts on that coming up this morning. The other big stories that I wanted to share, a couple of other statewide stories. KELLOLAND.com, folks over at KELLOLAND TV, have a story on, this is Representative Tim Reich told KELLOLAND News yesterday that he plans to be a yes vote today when the State House reconsiders whether to transfer $148 million into the incarceration construction fund, talking about the new prison, the prison fund. And so there was a stripped down version of the bill that failed 34-35, and Tim Reich then was not there, could not be there on Friday. He was excused on Friday. And now he's saying that he plans to vote yes. So that would mean a 35-35 tie and another defeat, unless, of course, someone switches sides. So we'll see what happens. That's a big story today, and we'll know more. So Representative Tim Reich telling KELLOLAND News yesterday he plans to vote yes today. As far as we know, that would mean a 35-35 tie. Other big stories this morning. President Trump returned to CPAC, wrapped up the final day of the Conservative Political Action Conference over the weekend. And this was his first appearance then since reclaiming the White House. And the president criticized Joe Biden, labeling him the worst president in the history of our country, blamed him for several different failures. President also commented on Ukraine, suggesting that the deal should be close on that. And folks at CPAC just are really, it was like 99% who were approving of the job that President Trump is doing. 99%. Again, this is at the Conservative Political Action Conference. But so for all of the gnashing of teeth and all of the wailing, you've got a good number of people who are very, very pleased with what they see happening in this country. Also, the president releasing a statement celebrating German conservative opposition leader and his victory on Sunday. According to exit polls, the country's center-right Christian Democratic Union won the national election. And the president said on True Social, it looks like they have won the very big and highly anticipated election. Much like the USA, the people of Germany got tired of the no common sense agenda, especially on energy and immigration, that has prevailed for so many years. This is a great day for Germany and for the United States of America. He said, congratulations to all, many more victories to follow. Also, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth saying that Donald Trump's firing of the nation's senior military officer, there have been a number of dismissals at the Pentagon. And Hegseth told Fox News Sunday, he was referring to Air Force General C.Q. Brown Jr. He was removed Friday night as the chair of the Joint Chiefs. And Hegseth said, nothing about this is unprecedented. The president deserves to pick his key national security advisory team. There are lots of presidents who made changes. He said former commanders in chief from FDR to George H.W. Bush to Barack Obama fired or dismissed hundreds of military officials. So Hegseth saying really nothing to see there. And that's a look at the big stories this morning. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. 627, mostly clear, and 36. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
Kello, News Talk 1320, 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tires. The Give You More Tire and Automotive Store.
First Premier Bank has deep roots.
Okay.
Our lenders have extensive experience in the industry and understand the area's ag economy. They also work to understand your needs and provide the right financial resources and local decision-making to help grow, protect, and transition your operation. It's how we've become one of the nation's strongest community banks. Learn more at firstpremier.com/ag. First Premier Bank, member FDIC.
It's time to taste pizzeria creations from 11 different eateries in the Sioux Empire and vote for your favorite pizza. The 2025 Pizza Battle is on February 3rd through the 28th, and bragging rights are on the line. Plus, a portion of the proceeds support local charities. Brought to you by these fine eateries: Invictus, Tomaselli's, Dario's, Marco's, Bosses, and Valentino's. The 2025 Pizza Battle. Taste all the pizzeria creations and vote for your favorite at Kello.com. If an emergency
Hey, I want to give you a heads up that for those of you who follow the fourth hour, there will be no fourth hour today. I've got a meeting with our staff and our team. So no fourth hour today, but I'll be back at it tomorrow. So I wanted to let you know about that in advance. It's really the only time that I can meet with our team in the morning. So
meals and extras, including chicken, beef,
just wanted to make you aware of it.
Being prepared is a state of mind. Take advantage of this special discount to secure your family's future now. Go to mypatriotsupply.com. If you order by 3 p.m., your order will ship within the same day, so you'll be prepared in no time. That's mypatriotsupply.com. mypatriotsupply.com.
A very mild week ahead. Our high today, 58, partly sunny skies. West winds at 15 to 30, and a slight chance of some sprinkles or a light shower this afternoon. Forecast low tonight, 26, with a light west wind. And tomorrow, south winds will pick up. High temperature.
And in Sioux Falls at 6:30, mostly clear, 36. Wow, what a change from the weather of the last few weeks, huh? Joe Bowman is in the Kello.com News Center. Coming up, leader of the anti-carbon capture pipeline movement, now head of the South Dakota Republican Party. So Joe will have details on that story and more for you coming up here on Kello.
Chris Foster, federal workers are given until midnight tonight to respond to a Saturday email announced by Trump Doge cost-cutting team leader Elon Musk to describe last week's accomplishments.
If you can't name 5 things that you did last week, then you should not be on the government payroll.
Trump advisor Jason Miller on Fox, Maryland Senate Democrat Chris Van Hollen on CBS Face the Nation.
What he's doing is trying to dismantle very important services that benefit all of the American people to make room for tax cuts for very rich
Really?
people.
Are you being benefited by a lot of these federal programs? How much of those have benefited you? All of the American people. They haven't been doing anything that benefits me, to my knowledge.
Is Deputy FBI Director. America's listening to Fox News.
Kello News Time, 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. The leader of the anti-carbon capture pipeline movement is now head of the South Dakota Republican Party. Jim Eschenbaum was just elected party chairman on Saturday, replacing outgoing chairman John Wick. The Central Committee of the South Dakota GOP also voted to support a House bill that would end Summit Carbon Solutions' bid to build a pipeline connecting ethanol plants in eastern South Dakota. The vote to decide on whether to start building a new men's prison or not is now tied. Republican Representative Tim Reich was excused from Friday's original vote, but says he's voting yes. The vote for the new prison project failed 34 to 35 on Friday, but will be voted on again today. The latest crime stats for South Dakota were released by the Attorney General's office, showing only slight increases in overall crime. Here's AG Marty Jackman on that report.
These crime statistics demonstrate that South Dakota remains an overall safe state. The two main areas of focus are the increased homicides and the increased drug arrests.
The number of homicides spiked from 18 in 2023 to a record-breaking 31 last year. Jackley discussed what's behind that number.
Several of the homicides are drug-related, and there will continue to be an emphasis on prevention, treatment, and prosecution of drug dealers bringing the poison into our state.
Jackley says the slow growth in overall crime shows that South Dakota is still a safe place to live. South Dakota property tax increases may soon have a limit. A Senate committee voted unanimously to advance legislation that caps annual property tax assessment increases at 3%. The Farm Bureau opposes the bill, citing concerns about tax shifts to agricultural land. The bill moves to the full Senate today. And in college basketball over the weekend, the Jackrabbits beat Kansas City 70 to 65, but the Coyotes fell to Omaha 93 to 85. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
Weather brought to you by Intech Cleaning and Restoration. If you need it clean, call the Intech team. IntechClean.com.
Partly sunny skies today, slight chance of a sprinkle or a shower. Temperature at 58 with a west wind at 15 to 30 miles per hour. Less wind for tonight, low temperature into the mid to upper 20s. And then for tomorrow, we're back up to 57 with a south wind at 10 to 15. That's your weather update from the Storm Center at Kettleland TV. I'm meteorologist Brian Karstens.
What was that?
I just want to bring up a point here.
This is where to go when you've got something to say.
You have to tell these people what they want to know.
Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
Do you believe big tech or social media has censored opinions that were not in keeping with the government's official line? I do. Now, do you think this has ever happened to you? Well, now you have an opportunity to be heard by both the FTC and the FCC. I'm Kim Commando for Oracle. Cut your cloud bill in half. Move to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Does your company qualify? Find out at oracle.com/Kim. You're probably not going to hear much about this in major media, so listen carefully. Andrew Ferguson is the new chairman of the Federal Trade Commission. He's opened an official investigation to determine the truth. Did social media giants, especially Facebook, YouTube, and the old Twitter, and even ride-sharing companies censor users' opinions? Whistleblowers at some of these companies have admitted in sworn testimony that it happened. The old White House pressured them to remove posts they didn't like. The FTC wants your comments. The deadline for submission is May 21st. Learn more at ftc.gov. Get my free newsletter at getkim.com. Even if you think it's a bit overhyped, AI is suddenly everywhere, from self-driving cars to molecular medicine to business efficiency. If it's not in your industry yet, it's coming fast. But AI needs a lot of speed and computing power. So how do you compete without costs just spiraling out of control? It's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. It's a blazing fast and secure platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, plus all of your AI and machine learning workloads. OCI costs 50% less for computing and 80% less for networking. Thousands of businesses have already upgraded. Oracle is offering to cut your current cloud bill in half if you move to OCI. Offer ends March 31st, 2025. See if your company qualifies for this special offer at oracle.com/Kim. That's oracle.com/Kim. Oracle.com/Kim. Oracle.com/Kim.
The Kim Commando Show, live Saturday mornings at 9. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tires, with 2 locations to make sure you have the proper traction this winter.
Bring charm from the outdoors into your home with Renewal by Anderson picture and combination windows. Optimizing a beautiful view and light in the bedroom, kitchen, or living room from ABC Seamless of Sioux Falls. Call 605-646-2667 today.
ABC Seamless. Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to goodrx.com/GLP. That's goodrx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices. Just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Kitchens and windows, unlimited, just look what we can do.
Sometimes storing your pots, pans, and small kitchen appliances can be a bit like a game of pull the wrong thing at the wrong time, and it all comes crashing down.
Hi, I'm Tim Munn with Kitchens and Windows Unlimited. Let us help you design a kitchen that's not only beautiful, but functions for you with our cook cabinetry. Our cabinets come in 8 different wood species with hundreds of stain, glaze, and paint options to choose from. Cook cabinets are beautifully handcrafted here in the heartland. Let one of my expert designers work with you and your budget to maximize your value. When it's time to update your kitchen, come and see one of my expert designers at Kitchens and Windows Unlimited. To learn more, stop by our showroom at 3rd and Kiwanis. Check us out on the web at kwunlimited.com.
Kitchens and Windows Unlimited, just look what we can do.
Entertaining talk, news when it happens.
That's what you'll always get on Kello Radio, and you can even get more at Kello.com.
In-depth stories, podcasts, and more.
For more of South Dakota, go to Kello.com. Kello News Talk 1320 107.
6:39, partly cloudy and 36 currently at Kello. Good morning, my friend. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that. News and views from Belf's News Gallery.
So the new director of the FBI, Kash Patel, will also be tapped to run the Bureau, to run ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. So this came right after, I think the day after Patel's confirmation. He was sworn in as the 9th FBI director. And so he will also run ATF. And this was, who was it who shared this? Story at foxnews.com. A couple of sources confirmed this to Fox. Pamela Hicks said on Friday, I was served official notice from the Attorney General of the United States that I was being removed from my position as the chief counsel of ATF. My employment with the Department of Justice terminated, she said. This was last Thursday. So she had served as ATF's chief counsel since 2021 during the Biden administration. She had served as deputy chief counsel during Donald Trump's first administration. And then she went on to talk about it being the highest honor of her career, thanked her colleagues. So Kash Patel will also run the ATF. Also, the president at CPAC over the weekend, and he on Saturday said the Republican Party is now the proud voice of everyday Americans across the country and the party of common sense. He said, our party has become the proud voice of hardworking citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. And I think one of the main reasons, not that we are conservative or anything, is we are a party of common sense. It's about common sense, he said. Over the past month, and in some issues, conservatives would agree that Donald Trump has not always been taking a conservative position on issues. And the president went on to say, over the past month, we've confirmed an all-star team of warriors, patriots, visionaries who put the America First agenda into action, he said. And his team has been working overtime. He said the fraudsters, liars, cheaters, globalists, and deep state bureaucrats are being sent packing, the president said. Also, President of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky, saying yesterday he would be willing to quit his post as president of Ukraine. He said, if there is peace for Ukraine, if you really need me to leave my post, I am ready. I can't exchange it for NATO. So what he's saying is he would, for NATO membership, then he would be willing to resign. Also, Elon Musk announced over the weekend an email going out to all federal employees asking them to respond with what they did last week. And he said, consistent with the president's instructions, all federal employees will shortly receive an email requesting to understand what they got done last week. Failure to respond will be taken as a resignation. And it went on and said, please reply to this email with approximately 5 bullets of what you accomplished last week and CC your manager. Please do not send any classified information, links, or attachments. Also, the Pope resting after his 10th night in the hospital, the Vatican said earlier this morning. So he has been hospitalized in critical condition with pneumonia. But the Vatican said this morning that he had a good night and was resting this morning. They said the night passed well, the Pope slept and is resting. The Pope also asking for prayers. He offered his thanks for the many messages of affection that he has received since he was hospitalized. He said, I've been particularly struck by the letters and drawings from children, he said on social media on Sunday. Thank you for your closeness and for the consoling prayers I have received from all over the world. So again, the Pope is 88 years old. He's in critical condition. Blood tests show early kidney failure. And the prognosis there is not good, unfortunately. Also, the body of Shiri Bibas was returned to Israel from Gaza over the weekend. This happened early Saturday morning. So her body, her remains, remember last week it was a big story that Hamas had said her remains were being returned along with her children. And it was her children, but the remains of the adult were not her. There was some unidentified person. And so her remains were returned early Saturday morning. Also, California Governor Gavin Newsom asking Congress to approve nearly $40 billion in aid in order to help the Los Angeles area recover from the wildfires. And he said this could become the costliest natural disaster in U.S. history. So he sent a letter Friday asking for support, including House Speaker Mike Johnson, Representative Tom Cole of Oklahoma, who is the House Appropriations Committee chair. Newsom said Los Angeles is one of the most economically productive places on the globe, but it can only rebound and flourish with support from the federal government as it recovers from this unprecedented disaster. Also, former Vice President Kamala Harris is back out in public. It's her first major speech since leaving the White House. This was on Saturday night. And she went after President Trump and Elon Musk. So this was during her acceptance speech at the annual NAACP Image Awards. She painted a bleak picture of the state of the country, urged attendees not to lose hope. She said, while we have no illusions about what we are up against in this chapter in our American story, this chapter will be written not simply by whoever occupies the Oval Office, nor by the wealthiest among us, she said. The American story will be written by you, written by us, by we the people. Also, President Trump congratulating and celebrating Germany's election results, as polls projected that Germany's Conservative Party, then with a pretty decisive victory. The national election results were trickling in yesterday afternoon, showed the country's top conservative chief, Friedrich Merz, would likely then be Germany's next leader. And Trump applauded those results on True Social, saying, looks like the Conservative Party in Germany has won the very big and highly anticipated election. And he went on. Also, local reports have stated that the Trump administration is looking into selling a San Francisco building that was recently dubbed the Nancy Pelosi Federal Building. So it's known as the San Francisco Federal Building till its formal then dedication to Nancy Pelosi in December. Word is that the Trump administration is looking to sell it. So there are various offices there for Health and Human Services, Social Security, and other federal offices that are in the building. So the Trump administration also apparently considering selling the 1930s era government building at 50 United Nations Plaza, which presently houses the U.S. General Services Administration and their, or at least regional offices. Also, President Trump's deputies flew 177 Venezuelan migrants from Cuba's Guantanamo Bay to Honduras late last week. So then they were flown from Honduras to Caracas, Venezuela. So being shipped out of the country. They were at Guantanamo Bay, and so now they have been returned to Venezuela. Also, you've got Tom Homan, who said yesterday he's not happy with the number of illegals being arrested by immigration agents and being deported. CNN State of the Union, he told them 14,000 migrants had been arrested since Trump was inaugurated, but he said, we've got to do a lot more. So many of those arrests, much like we were just talking about, been flown back to their native countries or sent to prison at Guantanamo. And Holman unhappy with the pace of the arrests. He said the number being deported is a lot higher than under the administration of President Joe Biden, but he said we've got to get the targeting and production up. It's hard work. So he wants to see more. Also, Mexico saying that President Trump has deported just about 14,500 migrants via Mexico. Like a little over 11,000 of them are Mexicans and 3,000 are foreigners, according to President Claudia Sheinbaum. So the non-Mexican migrants, likely then from Central American countries like Honduras, Guatemala. Also, the Israel Defense Forces flew fighter jets yesterday over the funeral of the former leader of the Hezbollah terrorist organization. It was a show of force to the tens of thousands of terrorists and terrorist supporters who attended this event in Lebanon. And so Israel flying fighter jets overhead. Also, Israel said early yesterday it was delaying the release of hundreds of Palestinian prisoners who had been slated to go free Saturday until Jerusalem receives assurances regarding the end of humiliating ceremonies that have been staged by Hamas when hostages are handed over. This was a statement from Benjamin Netanyahu, and it came after over 600 inmates had already boarded buses to leave prison. Instead, the inmates were told to disembark. Their release is on indefinite hold. So Netanyahu demanding a guarantee that Hamas end these ceremonies in which hostages are paraded in front of crowds before they're freed. Other stories trending this morning. Robbie Starbuck, who's a conservative activist, announced late last week that Pepsi will end all their diversity, equity, and inclusion policies and initiatives at the company. And they will put an end to their woke social credit survey system. So he posted this on X. He said he could finally reveal that he contacted the company, planned to expose its woke policies, and so Pepsi then revealed big changes. that aren't just going to affect Pepsi, but all of their brands, including Gatorade, Quaker, Doritos, Ruffles, Frito-Lay, Aquafina, and a number of others. So he's saying Pepsi will no longer have a DEI officer. Pepsi will no longer have a DEI team. Pepsi will end DEI representation goals. Pepsi will no longer participate in the woke social credit system survey. Woke trans agenda activists at HRC are losing influence and power by the day, he said. Also trending this morning, a suspicious package at an ICE facility in Florida late last week. A Cuban migrant brought a white powdery substance into this ICE facility on Thursday, led to a security guard becoming ill, sparked an evacuation of the premises. Took place at ICE's Miami field office when the migrant was being screened, according to a spokesperson for ICE. Another major U.S. restaurant chain headed toward bankruptcy, Hooters, reportedly working with its creditors and restructuring its business via bankruptcy. That was a new report in Bloomberg. Also, Meta is approving massive bonuses for executives just days after they cut 5% of their workforce. So Meta here cutting workers, about 4,000 workers, turning right around and giving massive bonuses for the executives at Meta. And that's a look at the stories trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. 6:57, partly cloudy and 36. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month. Thank you for being here, my friend. And again, a reminder, no fourth hour today. So the usual 9:30 show. Got a meeting coming up with team members this morning. Need to do that this morning. So no fourth hour today, but we'll be back at it again tomorrow. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. And thanks so much for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. I appreciate it.
Small fries and a small Coke for just $5. Prices and participation may vary.